Mr. Peter Kenneth, presidential candidate for the Eagle Coalition, thank you very much for being on the JSO interview and welcome.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Kenneth, following your campaign, I'm interested in this whole idea of campaign strategy, planning with the desire to become president of this country. And I'm sure that there's a whole backup system, and I'm trying to suggest that in some ways, in your case, they've been wanting. First of all, we see you perhaps going as a single candidate. Then we see you joining up with somebody else, that is Mr. Tuju. Then we see you joining up, I don't know, then you become a threesome, and then when you become a threesome, the calling card is that you're all very young, and you at present are 47. Then when we have a politician whom we know and love in the personage of Mr. Tuju, he backs out and brings in an unknown quantity. You both bring in an unknown quantity to be your running mate. Is this inspired strategy? Why were you something else in the Eagle Coalition next? And could you explain that?
I think what is absolutely clear is that we've had teams that have worked for the last 18 months, strategizing on a daily basis and planning what we have today. We sat down, first of all, as Kenya National Congress. We were approached by many political players, and we chose to go with power, and that's how we became Eagle Coalition. At some point after Eagle Coalition, we had talks with the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa of New Ford, Kenya. Not Pambazuka, but New Ford, Kenya. We were looking for options for our country. This is not about us.
No, you were looking for any way to get to power.
No.
Playing tiddlywinks with the numbers.
No, not really. I am very clear. I'm not in this for myself. I'm in this for Kenyans. If I didn't believe there were problems to be sorted out, I would not be in it. It's as simple as that.
We'll come back to that. That'll be in the latter stages of our conversation. For the moment, I am saying it is not inspired to have groupings of people. You link yourselves to them. You take on the baggage of the people that you take on board. So when you describe yourselves thereafter as people of integrity, then by definition, all of you are implicated in the use of this word integrity. So if you're all men of integrity, define integrity when you are with Messrs. Tuju Wamalwa that makes you more men of integrity than anybody else in Kenyan politics.
I think I was absolutely clear that we stood for values.
Integrity. Integrity was the word you used.
I will come to that. I think I used the word values first. I said the Eagle Coalition came together out of values, out of integrity. When we joined Eugene, or when he came to talk to us, we did not form a coalition. We were absolutely...
So are you blaming the press? Mr. Kenneth, are you blaming the press for creating the impression that you were...
I am not blaming anybody. I am telling you the facts as they are.
And I accept that.
That we had an Eagle Coalition based on values. We still have it between me of KNC and Raphael Tuju of Power. At some point, we had talks. Let me finish. At some point, we had talks with Eugene Wamalwa of New Ford, Kenya, that did not end up in a coalition.
Right. So we'll let it. Let us go. But why do you bring the word integrity into your particular definition and description of yourself?
I think we have brought various words. One was values. Integrity was second. 3 was freshness. 4th was a break from the past.
And I'm saying of the ones
we are saying on integrity.
Define integrity.
And I'm saying on integrity, we are ready to be evaluated, to be interrogated on our past, for what we have stood for what we have spoken about, and for our actions.
Integrity,
and they would pass the test of integrity.
Integrity of the type that we find in the US elections, where people are wanting to see Mitt Romney's tax returns for 10 years before, and he doesn't provide them. Because
I was the first MP in this country to pay taxes. when it was not legally for MPs. I was the first member of parliament to pay taxes on a voluntary basis.
Yes.
I
Mr.
was
Kenneth,
the only member
I wasn't questioning your credentials.
the only
if you
member
remember,
of
the small print was the credentials
I want to come on integrity.
of your grouping,
I want to come on integrity. You've asked me a very important point. If you give me a minute, I will try and tackle it. I stood against the watering down of the integrity chapter in Parliament. I stood in Parliament and opposed the winding up parks. What I am saying, to the test of integrity, you can interrogate me from the time I was born till now. I am absolutely clear you can.
Have I given you enough time to respond to that?
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to interrogate you further on the choice of running mate. And I'm saying that if you were to become president, you would foist upon the Kenyan public somebody who has no experience politically, who has no political savvy. I mean, the corridors of power, he may have been capable of running a corporate institution, but that's not quite the same thing as running a country. And so why would you abandon Mr. Tuju?
I did not abandon. The choice of my running mate was made by me and Mr. Tuju as ego coalition.
Interviewed people.
As ego coalition, and you recall in that press conference, Mr. Tuju was there. And let me add this.
I'm not thinking
and let me,
Mr. Kenneth,
it's because you used the word. You used the word
between us and the country.
You used the word abandoned, Mr. Tuju.
Yes.
And that is what I am trying to explain to you.
Right.
That decision was made by the ego coalition, and we made it formal. We were both there when we announced my running mate. We were both there. But let me also add this. Ronnie Osumba is a Kenyan, a capable Kenyan. He has ability. He was a Secretary General of the University Students on UN model. He has worked on entrepreneurship. He has been in charge of the public sector within the biggest corporate company in Kenya, Safaricom. He is a very good orator. I consider him full of potential. I consider him.
Potential is like an understudy, an apprentice who's going to learn slowly on the job. If you are president for a week and something happened to you,
does he have the abilities to be the president of this country at the age of 32?
The biggest problem we have had is that we have had a mental block, that we think people who are in their 30s cannot run a country. The president was a minister. The president was a minister at what age? Kenneth Matiba was a PS at age 26. Right? And let us be open here. If you are telling me, John, that I need the experience of the running mates who are around right now, I would rather have the inexperience of Ronnie Osumba. That's not the kind of experience that this country requires. And I want to be honest about it. I am looking at somebody who will create hope for the majority of Kenyans who are young people, majority of Kenyans who are in entrepreneurship.
Would you have chosen him because he was Luo?
It had nothing to do with tribe. It has something to do with ability.
Tribe equates to numbers.
Never. I joined Raphael Tuju in the Ego Coalition. We didn't look at tribal factors. I have never aspired to be a tribal chief, to be a regional chief. It would never work. We never learned tribalism in primary school, John. We never learned it anywhere. We have to change that mentality of thinking tribal every time we have to make a political decision. This is new Kenya.
Mr. Kenneth, you have said on several occasions that you wished your opponents had approached this from an issue-based. You said, why aren't we having issue-based politics? Could you expand on what you feel is lacking in the campaign?
Let me put it this way. If we do not fix our problems now, we'll all sink in this country together. And therefore, it is important we have leadership that will address the issues. Look at unemployment, John. It's 40% unemployment rate officially. It could well spring up to 55%. If we do nothing about it, what kind of a country are we going to have? We are 41 million Kenyans. We are hungry at 41. We are growing at 1.2 million a year. In 10 years, we'll be 53 million. We do nothing about it. We are in the ditch together.